Hi there, I'm James. I'm a firefighter. My question's in regards to the ongoing cuts to frontline fire services across the country, including here in our state of New South Wales. How do you see both federal and state government's role in properly funding fire services and responding to our prediction that things will get worse, particularly in the context of growing threat of climate change?
Jason, I'll go back to you to answer that because it was also partly in the first question as well.
James, could I ask, are you a member of the Rural Fire Service or the Fire and Rescue?
No, I'm a professional firefighter with Fire Rescue.
So you're a professional fire service, OK. So that, as you know, is a service that has always been delivered by state governments. I can't speak to your question. I am assured by the New South Wales Government that any request that is made by those people who run your organisation, both the Rural Fire Service and Fire and Rescue in New South Wales, that they have never been denied a request for more funding and more equipment where it is required. So I can't say more than that. All I can say is what I'm being told, what Shane Fitzsimons, who's the head of Rural Fire Service, is saying today in New South Wales, that we have never been better prepared and there is no firefighting brigade anywhere in the world that is better funded and better resourced than the New South Wales RFS. In my area, there are 23 brigades, 22 of them have sent people north to help with the fires that are on the mid-north coast at the moment. And that's a great thing and something that we should celebrate.
Can I just ask a quick question of you, and then I want to actually go back to our firefighter, who happens to be a member of the union, and I'm actually wondering if that's part of the reason why the former fire chiefs were not seen by the Prime Minister. Is there a sense that those who are out fighting and not union members are different or have different views philosophically about the way this is unfolding?
Well, I can't speak for the Prime Minister or his diary manager, but what I can say is that would have absolutely nothing to do with it.
So you think the Prime Minister should meet those 23 fire chiefs who tried to meet him in April and then again in September with the idea of warning him that precisely this sort of thing would happen?
Well, look, as I say, I don't know why the Prime Minister hasn't met with those fire chiefs as of yet. You know, he's a very busy person. As I understand it, they were asked to meet.
Should he meet them?
Well, I think at this point that's a decision for him. But yeah, look, I think that at least the minister, at very least, should take the time to meet with them and hear from them. I understand that meeting's underway. Just
before I go to our other panellists, you've got your hand back up there, and I'd go back to our firefighter.
Sorry, just with Fire Rescue, this year they had $13 million cut from...
So that's not true. The reason that there was a $13 million decrease in your capital budget is because in the previous financial year you had a new headquarters built, and we're not, you know, the New South Wales Government is not going to build a new headquarters for Fire and Rescue every year.
James, can I go back to the core of your earlier question? What is it that professional firefighters are seeing that's happening, and why are you guys in particular focused on the climate change issue?
Well, we've noticed over the last few years, I've been in the fire brigade with Fire Rescue for nearly 10 years. The fires are getting worse. The resources that we have, they're not there. We need more firefighters on the ground. And to be honest, without more firefighters on the ground, these things will continue to happen.
Sarah, you've seen this in California. Mark just mentioned that the wildfires have been extraordinary and unprecedented. How have the governments there responded, and how are they dealing with this issue of climate change? Or are they linking the fires to climate change? Perhaps I should put it that way.
It's a loaded question. In California itself, there is no debate on whether or not it's linked to climate change. We're sure the science proves it. Whatever you read shows that it has a scientific underpinning. And exactly as your firefighter is saying, right, these seasons are getting longer and longer. Our countries are getting drier and drier. It is compounded by having, in our case, an electric utility that in and of itself has not been well managed. So we have most of our cables are above ground. And then I think the third compounding effect in California is we're also very much in love with our countryside. We don't like to cut back our trees ever. And so when these high winds happen, trees come down, they bring down power lines, and they start fires like last year's devastating campfire that took out the whole town of Paradise. So It is very unnerving at a federal level.
I was going to say, are there different
Clearly.
views at a state? And
Yeah.
obviously the White House has a view about climate change.
Absolutely, and unfortunately the US just pulled out officially now from the Paris Agreement, the Paris Accord. And so, you know, it's devastating, I think, sitting in a state like California and seeing the impact, to imagine that we can't just all believe the science. I mean, I think last week alone, 1,600 scientists put their name to the fact that not just is climate change happening, but it's happening at a much more rapid rate. And our ability as just a human population to start to stop it is that window is closing.